The polls are closed and ballots are being counted for the 2021 Tobago House of Assembly elections. On Monday, TDT News caught up with various leaders of the political parties and candidates contesting seats in this THA elections. Caricia Douglas reports.
A smooth and quick voting process, clear COVID protocols, and no irregularities were the reports from candidates on the western end of the island for this 2021 Tobago House of Assembly elections. Chief Secretary and PNM incumbent candidate for Booker Mount Pleasant Ansel Dennis was voter number 133 around 11 a.m. on Monday. He said it took him just about 10 minutes to complete the process. He noted, though, that during the last THA elections, the voter turnout for this district was the lowest, but he's optimistic about this year.
Yes, so far so good. A lot of people in this area in particular tend to come in later on in the afternoon. So I think historically that's a good number so far. I think this time around we should get over 50% voter turnout. So that's my expectation.
Mr. Dennis, whose brief stint as Chief Secretary would come to an end this week, says he is ready to pass the baton to the People's National Movement's political leader, Tracy Davidson Celestin.
While I appreciate the commendations, because I see it as just that, persons being satisfied with how I presented myself and how I represented them over the last 7 months. But the People's National Movement has one political leader, and that is the person who will be elected as the Chief Secretary. I think it will be Thursday or Friday of this week.
Meanwhile, candidate for Bacalet Mount St. George Joel Jack said during the morning period, voter turnout was moving at a slow pace. However, as the day progressed, the numbers increased. He added that he executed a clean campaign and expects victory for the PNM later today when the last ballot is counted.
I've been contacting some of my fellow candidates across the other 11 electoral districts. In other areas, the pace is quite heightened, and we're also looking for some good news. So again, we anticipate not only just good news, but an overwhelming mandate from all across Tobago as we continue to advance this island's development.
Caricia Douglas for TTT News.
Meanwhile, Nkosi Phillips, who contested seats as an independent candidate in the past and chose to run under his newly formed political party, Unity of the People, for this election, said he was pleased on voting day.
No, I have no issue, nothing whatsoever. Everything went smooth. As I said, the first election was a tryout, and this election went very smooth. The walk around was very good. As I said, some of the opponents will have an upper hand on money and promises. And what I would have promised to the people is proper representation.
Progressive Democratic Patriots Jamie Baird, who is a newcomer to politics, said she feels confident about her chances and remains positive.
I'm happy, I'm comfortable. I mean, this district has such potential. There is so much that could be done. And I'm happy that other persons would have, stood up to the call. And it means that a lot of people understand what is needed, and we need more people to stand up and take responsibility in leadership position.
Two candidates in the Tobago House of Assembly elections on different sides of the political divide have highlighted irregularities during Monday's election. Speaking after casting her ballot at the Delaford RC Primary School, PNM candidate for Lambo Signal Hill, Tracy Davidson Celestin, said although she was satisfied with the voting process, there is one issue which is being looked at by the Elections and Boundaries Commission.
There was one instance in Lambo this morning that they are investigating where one of the persons left the polling station with a ballot paper. And so EBC now is doing their checks to ensure that the process or the system rather has not been compromised in any way.
And Progressive Democratic Patriots leader Watson Duke said he also had some concerns. Mr. Duke, who is vying to retain the Bell Garden East Roxborough Delaford seat, pointed out an issue to the media after voting at the Roxborough Anglican School on Monday.
We have about 4 persons whose name was on the last voters list, the last state elections 2017. However, for this elections, their name were not on the list, and they are well over 25 and above, etc. They have the ID card, but the name is not on the list. Then again, this is what elections are about. Some make it and some don't make it.
Mr. Duke is calling on the EBC to ensure they have a better process where no one who is at a voting age is denied exercising their franchise. Meanwhile, Tobago East MP Ayana Webster Roy, who also voted at the same venue, said the entire voting process was smooth and did not have any concerns with respect to voting. She was, however, hoping for a larger voter turnout.
The campaigning would have been intense, and candidates on both sides would have been on the ground bringing the message. So I'm hoping that persons would come out and vote, particularly the young people would come out and vote as well.
This area of Bell Garden East, Roxborough, Delaford captured the largest voter turnout in the 12 electoral districts in the 2017 THE elections. The area saw a 60% voter turnout that year, where PDP leader Watson Duke emerged victorious over the PNM's candidate by just over 300 votes.